YouTubers?
D6. That was just a dice test. Didn't pick up my D4 though.
Because you rolled 2d6s.
I have 2D6s, a D20, and a D4.
So Valakad want to give us a recap?
No, I quit.
But you do it so much better than I do.
All right, quick summary. We had a talk with the doll maker. Durkar went to pose for him to make two dolls, one tall one being child-sized halfling, and one for the doll maker, and a short one being like action figure sized for Durkar. Rest of us went back to the inn. Valakad identified the Chris, which there was nothing magical about, but it looked like it was the perfect weapon to use with the poisons, which turned out to be basilisk poison. We had dinner, and Reardon noticed a trio of people catty corner from us that were talking about Wembley, our little gnome friend that was stealing life from the leader and his son when he was supposed to be healing them. Valakad was deciding on maybe taking a stroll over to talk to them, and they suddenly looked over at us and rushed out of the inn. Valakad tried to follow, to no avail. Barely saw across the way. Two of them briskly walked down an alley as the gnome walked into the sleeping sup halfling sized inn. And I think that's about where we left it off.
Discuss with one of the parents at for the investigations, haven't you?
That as well. I totally missed that, apparently.
I believe you went to Ryan's family, who was a dwarf. His parents were DM and Lena.
Oh, hey, how about that? I have another paragraph. I didn't scroll down. Ha ha! All right.
Go for it.
Next morning, we headed out and went to talk to Ryan's parents, DM and Lena, which is where we are now. There's a large-ish footprint for a halfling or dwarf pressed into the mud outside his window. Looks like a sandal or some type of normal commoner shoe. It was depressed pretty fully. Outside of that, there is some dried blood on the ledge outside his window, and Durkar has a piece of cloth that may or may not be part of Ryan's clothing or the person that took him, if that is what happened. Inside his room, not a lot was found. The biggest notice is that the window was fully opened, not cracked like Ryan liked it for his parents. If it was not tampered with by the militia, it is likely someone took Ryan against his will.
And do we know if the militia members are above board, or could they be participating in this abduction.
Anything is possible. The one brother that we talked to seemed, I think, to be on the up and up, just way the hell in over his head. The Bolero, because Osric was the one that was supposed to be doing it. And the only person I think we've had an issue with was that first militia person, the lady that we saw talking with Becky's parents or mother or whatever.
As we go along, are we going to share what we've learned with the local militia, or wait until we have an answer?
I believe we already did in a way, and they gave us a location to go look or to start.
Well, yes, but I was thinking about the shoe print and the dried blood, the window being fully open, and you know, do they know that? Do they have that information or not? I mean, I thought they said they were going to give us what they had, and yet I don't remember them telling us that.
They gave us the notes or the files. Outside of that, I think we had discussed telling them anything we found. But something that the interior crew doesn't know, that Durkar knows, that White said last week was that it didn't look like a militia boot print. It looked more like a commoner shoe or sandal print.
Okay. Shall we go to the other children's residences and see what there might be there?
Sounds good. I will go back to the common room and talk to dot 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 uh Jim and say that we think we might have found something, but I don't want to get your hopes up yet. We're gonna go talk with Harry and Lisa's parents before we continue our search for your children.
Okay. Lena just kind of, she watches you come down the, come out of the room with a hopeful expression on her face. And then as you say what she said, she kind of, her shoulders kind of sag and she kind of slowly drops herself to the chair. DM standing next to her just kind of continues to nod and says, "Please, you have to find him. He really is a good boy."
We will do. Let's see here. We will do what we can. Again, we cannot make promises. I do not want to make a promise. But we will do our damnedest to find him.
Then
Do we know? Oh, sorry.
Then I guess all I can say is good luck and hope to hear some good news from you soon.
Going back, do we know if they bought the toys for the boy or were they just scouting? I can't remember.
No, they haven't actually bought anything yet.
They went out and scouted them for his birthday. Then they had dinner. Then he went to bed. Then they were going to bed, and that's when they noticed that he was missing.
Okay.
Yes, I will pull out the files and look for Harry's address.
Harry, okay. You make your way over to their home. Darn it. Okay. You make your way over to their home. It's a humble one-story building. It's not the best taken care of. But it looks cozy. I mean, the lawn could be trimmed. There aren't any decorative plants like flowers or whatever nearby. There's a tree that's in the front yard that's kind of hanging low over the walkway to get to the front house or to the door. So you kind of have to duck under the branches or walk off into the grass to get around it. And the front door is kind of it's hung a little bit crooked, so it doesn't quite fit in the space, the door area, section, whatever, jam. But it's in there enough to be secure. It's just not quite perfect, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So what do you want to do?
I will knock on the door and try and be careful about it so that it doesn't fumble into the house.
Okay. A moment after you knock, a um an older halfling gentleman answers the door, and he's got this very concerned look on his face, and he opens the door and kind of looks the four of you over. Five of you, because Baron's there. And he kind of gets this disappointed look on his face. And he says, still looking you over, he says, "What can I do for you?"
We are. We've been tasked with helping your Fairtowns militia in the disappearance of Harry, and we're wondering if you would have a chance allow us to see his room, talk to you, see if there was anything missing that the militia had missed while they were doing their report. It just came from DM and Lena's place, and we found a couple of things that weren't in the report, and we just want to make sure that all the bases are covered so that we can hopefully find out what happened and, with any luck, bring your children back to you.
He kind of looks back over his shoulder, and then opens the door for you and says, "Yeah, you can come in, and of course, anything we can do to help. Yeah, come on in."
I'll work my way around the outside again, like I did at the last house, seeing if there was a window to the kids' room. I'll, start there and look around outside.
As we go in, I will ask him if he can recount exactly what happened. We read in the report that when you checked up on him in the morning, that he was not in his bed. Just kind of, if you can walk us through the evening prior and see if we can find any inconsistencies or what all happened.
And the older man older halfling kind of nods his head. Um, One of the first things you guys notice as you walk into this very small home, there's really only 3 rooms. The main living area and what appears to be 2 very small bedrooms. Um, uh, you look around. Some things are in disrepair. Some things aren't. You know, they're worn out. Obviously, ready to fall apart. They've definitely seen their share of use. Some things are being used as things they weren't intended to be used as. But the house looks clean. Looks the two older halflings here look, they look fed, and outside of looking very worried, very distraught, they look healthy. But as you say that, uh, Valakad, the halfling male kind of turns to you and says, "The name's Wick, and this here is my wife Hetty."
I am Balakad. This here is Airmel, and this is Reardon. And our lucky golden lizard is on the exterior house. He is a bit tall, so he doesn't really go in houses around here, but he will do a thorough search of the grounds to make sure that we cover all of our bases.
Let's see.
His name is Durkar. If you have a chance to speak with him, but he will pretty much stay outside.
Okay. I'm not really sure where you want me to start. It was a quiet night. Didn't notice anything. When we went to look for him in the morning, he wasn't laying in bed. First I thought maybe he was getting up to help out around here. I'd asked him the previous day to possibly see if he could start doing that. Only he was nowhere to be found in the house.
Was there... Did he argue anything about the housework that needed to be done, or?
At this point, Wick and Hetty kind of look at each other, and Wick kind of looks back at you and says, kind of with a guilty expression on his face, and he says, "I'm afraid I did get a get in an argument with my grandson. Yes. Um, I'm. When I was his age, I was working full time to help pay the bills, and his father did the same thing. And as I'm sure you can tell, things are a little tight around here. And I just thought it would be a good idea for him to start learning some responsibility. Unfortunately, he disagreed. And while I don't think he ran away, because Harry more than knows how to take care of himself in the, on, when we go camping or whatever. He didn't take any of his camping supplies. He didn't pack a bag. He didn't take his canteen. He didn't take any of his camping stuff. So if he ran away, he wasn't planning to be in the wilderness. Which means either someone took him or he's hiding in someone's house here in town.
Did you happen to check upon him before you went to bed?
He kind of sighs deep and scrubs at his face with his hand. He says, "Son, we're old. We go to bed very shortly after him."
That is perfectly fine. I just was curious. Just wanted to try and get a time of when it happened. Did he like to sleep with the window open, closed?
He and Hattie kind of look at each other, confused for a moment, and they kind of both shake their heads and say, "I don't recall him ever sleeping with his windows open."
And when you noticed that he was missing, was the window open or closed or broken or anything like that?
I don't believe it was open. Definitely not broken. And he kind of hesitates a moment. He says, "I'm not sure if this means anything, or if it even is anything. But when I went outside to look for him, I'm pretty sure the door was unlocked. But I can't really remember. I just kind of put it off as me forgetting to lock it the night before. But I almost never forget to lock it at night. So it's possible that he went out the door, or maybe I just forgot to lock it.
Or may we see his room now by chance?
Certainly. And Wick will lead you back to his grandson's room.
Right. Yes, we will check his room. Same thing as before. Check the sheets, see if it was if it looks like he crawled out of bed kind of thing, or if he was, ruffled sheets as if there was a struggle, or if someone pulled him out,
Okay, go
and that
and
kind
give
of
me
stuff.
a investigation check. Durkar, you too. Might as well give me one while you're outside. It's not hard to find the right bedroom from outside.
Sorry, which one? Sorry.
Investigation.
My heart skipped a beat there for a second. I saw the red come up for the guidance, and I was like, "Oh, ooh!"
Okay. Um. Okay, let's start with what Durkar sees outside. Um. Let's see. Um. Sorry, I have to think about this for a second. Okay. Durkar, you don't find anything of interest by the window. Um, Towards the back of the house, though, you find a pair. Let's see. This was. Okay, that was right. Okay. You find a pair of footprints. Standing. Heel towards the house. So whoever's standing there was standing with their back against the house. And they are on the back side of the house. So basically around the corner from the window.
Do I see what direction they go, or
Um,
how big they are?
they look roughly the same as the ones you saw at Ryan's place.
Same soul pattern?
Yeah, about as close as you can get without CSI forensics gear. Yeah. Basically, all you can really tell for sure is that it's not a military boot. It's more like a commoner shoe or sandal or something along that lines.
Yeah, I'll take note of the front print a little bit more since it looks familiar to the other one. So,
Okay.
then what else do I see?
That's it. That's about it.
Do I see a smaller set of footprints, or
Nope.
do they look sunken in like they're carrying something?
Nope. And you didn't even see a direction that they go off. All you see is the two footprints.
That were facing the kid's window.
No, they were around the corner from the kid's window with their back to the wall of the house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of like a spy sneak around the corner, facing away but looking around. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna yell and go to the window and say, Valakat, got another set of footprints out here, kind of matching the other one. Check the bottom of all their soles to see if they match or not. Rule them out. Or see how common this soul pattern is.
I will try and look at Wick's feet and ask, can I see the bottom of your shoe by chance?
He kind of gives you a confused look and then lifts his foot to show you the bottom of his shoe. It's a very worn shoe. You can tell that it's been repaired numerous times. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else you guys want to know about it.
I don't either. I'm just doing whatever's asked.
Okay, Durkar, out of character, what exactly is he looking for on the bottom of the shoe?
Basically everything you described, I would have told him about the general size. It just looks like a work shoe, and I could. Did you say if they had a type of tread on them, or was it slick? I can't remember that one.
They don't really have tread on them. It's basically just a container for the foot.
Now, out of character, are these hard sole shoes, or they would be more like a soft sole, like just a leather wrap? I can't, what commoners would normally wear in this world.
They're probably a leather wrap with something a little more sturdy on the bottom, like maybe um, heavy hide or um, maybe even something as durable as horse or animal hooves. I mean, more likely the heavy hide part.
Okay. Me looking through the window, would it look like the pattern? If I was looking at, if he was showing me the bottom of his foot.
Um, his shoes look a little small. His feet look a little small for that pattern.
But I mean, it's not far size, but does the bottom of the sole kind of resemble the same type of imprint?
Yeah, same type. Yeah.
Okay, so it is a common soulish footprint. It's just the size.
They have two soles. They have military boot or commoner, and these look commoner.
Yeah.
Okay, but just not the right size. Okay. Going out, judging off the size of the halfling's foot to my foot or Valakad's foot, how tall or big could I ascertain this person being?
You mean the one who left the footprints?
Yeah.
Or shoe prints?
Going off the size of it compared to a halfling's foot, my foot, a normal human foot.
3.5, maybe 4 feet. Maybe. And that could probably be pushing it.
So we're looking dwarf size?
Well, dwarves usually have larger feet. So it's probably either a halfling or a gnome.
Okay.
Who might be a little on the tall side.
Alrighty. Well, it narrows that down. Okay.
Okay. Valakad. Excuse me, seem to be having trouble breathing at the moment. Okay, first of all, the bed. It definitely looks like it was used. Does not look like there's any kind of struggle outside of a kid just trying to get out of the bed. It is obvious that Harry did stop to get dressed before leaving. You can see his pajamas are there on the floor. So he did stop to get dressed, and he put his shoes on. He did not, as far as you can tell, and from what his grandfather tells you, he did not take anything else with him when he left. The window does not look like it's been opened anytime recently. What else would you like answers to?
Any smell of the same thing that I looked over at Ryan's place, herbs or alchemical solutions or anything like that? I'm guessing no, because if he got dressed himself, then he wasn't taken like Ryan was. But
Did you find any of that stuff there?
no, the only
Okay.
thing I found there was leaves that looked like they had blown in from outside.
Okay. No, there's no additional, alchemical smell or anything like that. I mean, it is a little boy's bedroom, so it's not the freshest of smells in here. But there's no obvious alchemical or drug smell, I guess.
Then, after we get done in there, I would like to check the front door and see if I can see any scratches or scrapes, since Wick said that he thought he locked but wasn't sure if he locked it. See if there's any scrapes from lockpick type tools.
Okay. Give me another investigation check.
I'm much happier about that than my rolls last week.
Okay. You look through look over the lock plate and mechanism. There doesn't appear to be any additional scratches or tool marks on it. But as you're closing the door, you kind of glance down and there's some additional scratches on the floor. And you kind of follow them, and there's a little stool standing in the corner. And you can see that there are relatively fresh scratches on the floor from that stool being pulled from the corner to in front of the door and then pushed back.
I would mention that to Wick and Hetty and ask if they've moved that stool in the past couple weeks.
Hetty will just kind of look at you and start sobbing again. Wick will explain that that's how Harry usually unlocks the door. He'll move the stool over and then unlock the door, move it back, and then jump to grab the handle to open the door, swing the door open. He's a smart kid when he puts his mind to it. There aren't a whole lot of puzzles or predicaments he can't think his way through. Again, when he puts his mind to it. Pardon me.
I will look over solemnly at them and say, just because it looks currently like he left on his own accord does not mean that he did. There are plenty of spells that could have targeted him into leaving without his intent on leaving. We will go visit Lisa's home, and then we will compare notes with the militia, and then we will start doing our formal investigation into what happened. So please don't put it on yourselves. I agree 100% with him taking, with him needing to help out. My childhood, I lived on a ship, and if people didn't help out, there was a good chance that we wouldn't make it to the next port. So everybody did their fair share. So I personally, just looking at everything based on Ryan's home, I feel like if he did leave of his own accord, it was more than likely that he was coerced. So we will do our best to find out exactly what happened and bring him back.
Wick just kind of nods his head, and he's tries to say something, but then closes his mouth and just nods his head again. Airmail and Reardon, if you guys are awake, go ahead and roll.
Yes, we are.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Oh, no.
Well, Reardon's awake. Hey, Airmail's awake too. Okay, while Valakad is having this conversation with Wick and Durkar, you hear what's her name? Hetty For the most part, she's quietly sobbing. But when she isn't sobbing, she's rocking back and forth, and she's softly humming a song. Um, Both of you hear it, and it's a very enchanting song. And while you're listening to it, it's very easy to just tune out what Valakad and Wick are talking about and just kind of zone out, you know, off into your mind somewhere. It's very easy to just zone it all out. And as Valakad is saying, okay, we're gonna go talk to the guard and all that, you guys just kind of snap out of it, and yeah, it's wherever what happened during that time type thing. It's just kind of, you guys are just off in your own little world.
Does that mean we aren't aware of what Valakad has found?
Probably not. No, you guys were off on your own little mental voyages. Your own little daydreams, which you can choose to share with us or not.
Oh, I don't really remember a daydream as such. It's just that her humming just seemed to freeze me in place, and mind was blank.
As Wick and I get done, I will head towards the door and look back and go, guys, we're leaving.
Oh, okay. We get outside. Right away, I asked Valakad, well, what did you find? What do you think?
Your car.
What?
Okay, cool. Now that you're here, I will explain everything so I don't have to do it twice. And I will explain everything. So it looks as though this time it looks as though he got dressed of his own accord, and opened the door of his own accord, and left of his own accord. Though that doesn't mean that that is exactly what happened. Could it be some sort of charm spell that he was under? This one does not look. This one looks worse than the other one. That somebody took him per se. What did you find outside?
Well, I told you what I found outside through the window.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. If they weren't paying attention, that's not my fault.
I never opened the window, so I didn't. I just thought you kind of yelled and was like, "Hey, check out their souls." I was like, "Okay, cool."
Oh, yeah, that's the only thing I found outside. So yeah, that's why we checked it, because I told you. But that's the only thing I found outside was a pair of footprints parallel with the wall for some suspicious reason, I would say.
In that case, I would say
Okay.
that maybe whoever was
I
standing
have to
outside.
admit,
Maybe whoever was standing outside said some sort of spell to make him wake up and leave.
that seems entirely possible. Uh, while we were inside, the old woman started humming a tune, and I was fixated by it, so that I didn't hear or see anything while I was in there. So it's like I was being mesmerized. So I don't know, but I'm guessing that she has more powers than they let on.
I'll look over at Reardon and say, "Did you notice anything? I didn't notice any. I mean, outside of her crying and my talking with Wick, I didn't notice anything."
I didn't notice anything.
Um. All right. Well, I guess we can head up Lisa's place next.
Okay.
It's okay
Yeah,
by me.
Look at the paperwork and find out where Lisa lives, or lived, or yeah, something like that. still lives because she's not dead, because we're gonna find her, because that's what we do. Yeah, that one.
Aren't there actually two more children to look after? Weren't there 4?
Yeah, we got. I kind of talked to Becky's mom at the diner, or the sorry, tavern. In but we got Lisa, and then probably go over to Becky's place and check out her room.
All right.
Okay. Okay, you get to Lisa's house, or the address anyway, and if Harry's grandparents' house was a little rundown, this one is very rundown. The door is literally hanging from a hinge. One of the windows for the front room is broken. The stairs up to the door is literally missing a stair. Half the sidewalk leading from the road to the porch has been dug up, or just corroded away through elemental erosion. The grass on one side of the yard is just dirt. The grass on the other side is probably a 1.5 feet tall.
That sounds like my house. The grass, not the house.
Yeah, so, and the paint is mismatched. One part of the house is painted one color, and the other part is, just chipped and fading. It's like they started trying to paint it and just never finished. But it was long enough ago that it now completely needs to be repainted. So yeah, that's this house.
In this case, I guess I will go up and not knock on the door, and instead call out, "Is anyone home?" Lest I knock down the freaking door.
You see well, first of all, it takes a little while before you get a response. But just when you're about to give up and walk away, you can hear movement inside. And then you hear a small voice just kind of say, what do you want? As a bleary, half-awake eyeball pokes out over the lower edge of this door.
We are working with the militia to try and find out what happened to the children. We were curious if we could talk about Lisa and see her room, find out what happened in the days leading up to her disappearance.
She says, yeah, just give me a second. And she kind of disappears from the door. And inside you can hear some things shifting around. And you can hear her cussing a little bit, and every now and then you hear something crash. At one point you hear the very irritated yowl of a cat. And a moment later it comes flying out the door. Or one of the openings in the door. Just kind of stops on the sidewalk, looks back at you guys and hisses, and then runs off.
So we got a cat lady, huh?
She comes back to the door, and you can see her doing something inside, and the door kind of shifts precariously. You guys probably jump back a step or two, just, because it looks like it's about to fall on you. And it just kind of shifts, and you can see her pull something else, and suddenly the door pulls upright, and you watch as the door swings open, and there's like this whole contraption on the inside of it that's holding it straight. As the door swings open for you to enter. And she says, "Come on in."
I will walk in.
Okay, as you walk into this house, it is not very well taken care of. It's a wreck, essentially. There are some dirty dishes sitting on tables, and there's trash in a number of places where there shouldn't be trash, and there's some old, apple cores and banana peels kind of tucked into the corner of a chair somewhere. You can see that the cat was definitely not house trained. There are little piles and dried up puddles all over the place. And the halfling herself, she is very she's a mess. I mean, that's the best you can. She's a hot mess. I mean, her hair is like pointed in 12 different directions and twisted up and around and under, and it's kind of like twisted up under her her chin and up over her ear, and it's just everywhere. And it looks like she fell asleep without taking makeup off or something, because there's just colored smears all over her face. Um, and she's just kind of like holding a blanket over herself, like yeah, like a blanket. She's just looking at you like, okay, now who are you, and what are you doing here?
I am Valakad. This here's Aramel. Look over the other shoulder. This here's Reardon. And our golden friend outside is. Did you come in, or are you walking outside to your car?
If it's the same size as the rest of them, it's small. I stay outside.
Yeah, it's a small house.
Our golden friend outside is our lucky golden lizard. His name's Durkar. And we are trying to help the militia find the children that have gone missing over the last couple of weeks. With Osric being under the weather, Valero has been in over his head, and we're just trying to lend a hand to try and find the children.
So you found Lisa?
We have not found anybody yet, but we're trying to pour over the notes of the people that of the militia members that took your initial reports, and just kind of compare and make sure that we see if they missed anything, and see if there's anything that we can do a little differently, and possibly come to a better solution than that which they have currently.
She just kind of chuckles under her breath. She says, "That can't take much, or won't take much." The militia here isn't worth a damn. So, what do you need me to tell you so you can find my daughter?
We were, according to the reports, she went to go get water from the river for breakfast, and she never came back. Can you tell us, was that, did you have a fight with her the night before? Have you heard, how was the weather? Did you hear any strange noises? Any, this is going to sound really weird, but any humming? I'll kind of look at Aramel when I say that.
As far as the fights, Lisa and I are always getting in fights. She's a kid. It happens. But she holds her own. She can give it as well as take it. So if you think she left because she was mad at me, then you're just as brain dead as the rest of the militia. She I don't know anything about this humming you're seeing that you're talking about. What else did you ask about?
Um,
Oh, the weather is. I don't know, what was the weather like 4 days ago? Um, I guess it was maybe a little overcast, but I don't think it was raining or anything.
Is Lisa's father in the picture?
She just laughs and says, "Haven't seen Lisa since the day I found out I was pregnant. Or haven't seen her father since the day I found out I was pregnant."
Did he live here in town, or is he from another town? Could he have?
Well, when I got pregnant, he lived here in town. He moved very quickly after he found out I was pregnant.
I see. My apologies.
Lisa and I get along without him. It's not exactly glamorous, but she takes a deep breath, says, "We get what we need."
Do you know where he's living now?
Last I heard, he was headed down towards, oops. South Lake.
Is Oops a town we missed?
No, South Lake. No, I meant to scroll down and accidentally enlarged a document I was looking at. So it took up the entire screen.
You sure it's South Lake and not Southlaki?
She just gives you a dirty look.
That was out of character.
Yeah.
I had to do a Verheist thing.
My dad and I have been watching a Star Trek Next Generation. And for the majority of the second season, the doctor is a Dr. Pulaski. Every time I hear it, it's Pul, so it's not quite the same. But every time I hear it, I'm like, man, I Kenny. It's just, I think of Kenny and the Margrave. Yeah. There was a town in a previous campaign we were playing Durkar that was Pale Sky. But Kenny, for the life of him, he can never call it anything but Pulaski. He can never think he never think to call it Pale Sky. It was always Pulaski.
I think he did it to one or two other towns too.
Yeah, he did that to a couple other places too. But
Like maybe Sir and Laya?
Yeah, I think that was one of them.
well, that was actually how he said that one. I don't remember what he would have called that.
I'd like to introduce Jessica Pearson. Ms. Pearson will be an important part of my administration moving forward. Ms. Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're very welcome, Mr. Pearson.
But I am anxious to give something back.
And it has nothing to do with you missing the game.
You enjoying whatever you're watching there, Reardon?
I wasn't.
I'd like to introduce Jessica Pearson. Ms. Pearson would be an important part of my administration.
It's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I'm still running my TV with new internet.
Okay, so
All right. So, father is in South Lake. I guess at this point I'll ask. May we see her room?
she looks at you and kind of, you can see kind of an embarrassed look across her face, and she says, "Why would you want to see your room?"
Want to make sure that again, we just want to cover all of our bases, and just want to make sure that like she didn't take anything with her that if she ran. Obviously, I don't think that she ran. I don't think any of these kids ran. But we just have to cover all of our bases.
Give me a persuasion check. Oh. Wow. She kind of looks at you and kind of...
I'm a very, very persuasive character.
Apparently. She kind of looks at you and kind of hems and haws, and she gets very fidgety and just kind of says, after you finish your explanation, she just kind of hangs her head and says, "Fine," and leads you into their bedroom. As you look through the doorway, there are 2 beds in here. 2 small beds. And it's obvious that they share a bedroom.
I want to do a quick glance, not really. I mean, since she left to go get water and wasn't really quote unquote taken per se, or if she was taken outside. Just want to do a quick glance over the room and just make sure that nothing seems out of place, like she was taking off, kind of thing.
Okay.
Like if boys were in there and clothes were in there, and like she didn't take a backpack with clothes with her when she left to go grab water.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Yeah, that's the numbers I like.
Honestly, the room is such a mess. You can't really make any heads or tails out of it either way. There are clothes on both beds. Both look like they might be both hers and Lisa's clothes on both beds. Looks like both beds have been slept on with the clothes on them. Yeah, it's just a mess. There's not really making any heads or tails out of this at the moment. Not without further investigation.
I don't think that's going to go very well, so I'm going to back out and thank her
And
for our. Thank
can
her
I
for her
ask,
work.
where would Lisa go to get the water?
Durkar, where are you at the moment?
I'm be doing the same thing I was doing the last 2 hours, just walking around looking for signs outside.
Okay. Well, at this point, Polly would go over to the window and kind of hold the shade up. And she wouldn't actually draw it, but she just kind of hold it up, and probably be startled by the big dwarven or big golden lizard standing outside her window. She will jump back and gasp, look back at the rest of you and say, "What the devil is that?"
Like I said, it's our hush tone. Lucky golden lizard. His name is Durkar.
Is it friendly?
He is. He comes from another world. He arrived through this magical portal, opened up, and he kind of fell through it.
She'll kind of give you a incredulous look, and then
I'll hold up my hands and be like, I know. It was strange.
and she'll just kind of slowly roll the shade up again, and glancing past Durkar about, I don't know, 30 feet out, you can see it's probably a little more like 50 feet out. You can see like a river or stream kind of weaving its way lazily past the town. And just beyond that, you can see the wall. So
I could honestly imagine this lady, like, yeah, they have a lucky lizard that, a small lizard that is outside for whatever reason that is totally just checking things out. Oh, I didn't realize your lizard was, 7 feet tall.
well, I'm glad to know that my NPCs are acting appropriately for you. She'll point out to the river, say that's where she gets the water every morning. She's
Okay, thank you.
a good kid most of the time. And you say you don't think that she ran away, which I think that's means you're at least smarter than the militia. Which doesn't take much. Now, is there anything else any other questions I can answer for you?
No, ma'am. That has been perfect for us. Thank you very much for your time. Apologies for the intrusion. and we will investigate a little further outdoors and towards the river, and then we will be out of your hair until we find out more.
Just find my daughter. That's all I ask.
That is definitely our hope.
What do I find outside?
Okay. With that, she lets you guys go out, or escorts you out, and she pulls the door closed, and then after a moment, it just hangs there, and then after a moment, it just kind of collapses over, so it's crooked in the door jamb. Makes a lot of noise, but doesn't seem to break anything. Durkar, give me a perception check.
My dice says 19, but I think that was a bad signal between my roll and the.
Well, I got an 11. According to what I see.
Gypped by my own dice, man.
Let's see. There's not really a whole lot to see out here. Until the point where she lifts the shade and kind of jumps back, dropping the shade, and then a couple of moments later, she kind of slowly lifts it again, and she keeps an eye on you. She points at something, and then drops the shade again, and a few minutes later, they walk out. All you can.
Did I see where she pointed?
Yeah, it was off towards the river behind you and the wall. The only real thing you can see of interest is there's a trail through the tall grass from the house to the river.
I'll follow the path.
Okay. It's about 50 feet long.
I'll go along too.
Okay. It's about 50 feet long. There's not really a whole lot of interest along the trail. You get to the end and yeah, there's the river.
How tall is the grass?
About a foot and a half.
So, being a foot and a half in my height, I would have been able to see if anything was dented down, like it was laying down in the grass.
Yeah. Nothing attracts your attention.
And what do I see out the river?
You get to the river and there's a little little bit of a little. It's like someone piled a bunch of dirt into the river to, um, make like a little land bridge out a little ways. And you can see that um, her path leads out onto that little land bridge. And at the end of the land bridge, you see a series of buckets.
Do they look to be placed as an orderly format, or
Yeah,
dropped and tossed like it's a disarray?
yeah. There's 6 of them in 2 stacks. 3 per stack, and they look like they were put there intentionally.
I'll scan up and down the water bank, see if I see anything on the shore, to my left or right and across the way.
Okay, give me another perception check. Sorry, give me a second here.
Once it enters, the mirrors will confuse it and it won't be able to find a way out. Brandon, what is this going to work? What is it going to stay behind us? You're going to take the left? Every room.
Okay, okay, 15, and you're looking up and down the shores, basically? Is that right? Hello?
Sorry, you're breaking up. Say that again.
15, and you're basically just looking up and down the shores, see if you see anything? Is that right?
Yeah, checking, scanning shoreline, see if I see any, like you'd be like footprints on the other side or bodies laying in the water or stuff like that.
Yes, there are bodies laying in the water on both sides. No.
Damn these murderous villagers.
Does there look like there's a bucket that's been cast off, like it was dropped, whatever, and maybe she was carrying it and dropped it for some reason?
No. The 6 buckets that are there are stacked neatly, with the tent. Drakar, as you look up the river, which essentially, as far as the river is concerned, would be up towards the village. You see probably 20 feet away, in the mud, you do see the... Well, let me restart this. You see child's footprints go from this little island thing that the buckets are stacked on, back towards the shore, and then head north along the shore. Every few steps or so, she'll step in the mud, which is what's giving you a trail. Further up the shore, probably 40, 50 feet or so, following that trail. I'm assuming you're following the trail.
Yes, I would have followed the trail.
Okay. You'll find another pair of footprints, which looks pretty close to the ones that you saw at what was it, Harry's house, and the one footprint you saw at Ryan's house. But here you see them in the mud, and there's something lying next to them in the mud. It's there's an imprint of something in the mud next to his footprints.
I will bend down and take a closer look.
If you want to give me an investigation check, DC's pretty high on it though. Just a warning. Watch him get a nat 20.
Well, I have an automatic -1, so...
Well, nat 20 would still get the job done. Even this investigation, you have an nat 1 or -1.
Yeah.
So both your wisdom and your intelligence are both -1.
No, investigations intel, which is -1. My wisdom modifiers aren't plus because they're zeros. I haven't got anything in wisdom yet, which I need to put into.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you just can't quite figure out what it is. It's got kind of a... Whatever it is, you just can't quite make it out. It doesn't look like a footprint. It's just something else was placed there in the mud next to the footprints. And then you can see that the prints then turned and left.
So do the smaller prints continue on, or
yes, they continue.
Do they disappear?
They continue with the larger prints, but it's only a couple steps before it goes on to a dry surface and is no longer trackable.
And the ground here, is it hard mud, soft mud, or is it like dried dirt? And where this imprint is?
The imprints that you're looking at are in semi-dried mud, and the ground outside of, outside of range of the river's water is hard dirt for the most part.
Okay. Who came with me again?
Aramil.
All right. I'll ask Aramil.
Yes.
I'll be like, do you want to get the others so we can take a look at this better? I don't have a clue what this is. But it looks like the child footprints stop here or met with the bigger footprints and then they move along so we can maybe possibly continue from here, but we'll need more eyes. You want to go back and grab everybody else?
Certainly.
And I'll wait right here so we don't lose track of where this point is.
Okay, I'll be right back.
And the whole time I'll keep scanning my surroundings in case.
Okay.
And I get back to the house, and I say, Valakat and Reardon,
Yes,
you want to come with me? We've got
sure.
our Durkar has found some impressions in the mud that are interesting, and we need to have you both to look at it.
Okay.
And then I turn and run back toward where Durkar is.
I'm right behind you.
I'll send my
And following as well.
familiar. All right, I'll send my familiar up into the air to get a better view of the surroundings.
Valakat, are you going to come?
Yeah, I just said I was.
Didn't hear that either.
Sorry, didn't hear it.
Riordan said he was coming, and I said I was following.
Sorry, AFK.
Okay, so he leads you back. Give me a second here. Actually, why don't we all take a break real quick?
Okay.
So, go get a snack or drinks or stretch or throw the cats out or whatever.
Just let him in.
And see you back here in a bit.
All right.
So, Sky,
Yeah.
have you tried BG3 yet?
Yep.
This is like, okay. Have you been to the Underdark?
I am in the Grimforge area currently.
The Grim with the Dwargar?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Right,
Dwargar area just at the end of Act 1.
Did you did you get to the boat fight, or did you convince them to let you pass?
Convinced him. I got in the boat fight when it was on the beta, but this one I was able to persuade them that I was definitely is supposed to be going.
True Soul.
Yeah.
So I did that twice. One was got into a boat fight, and the other was True Soul. But on the first one, where I got into the fight, I get into the fight with the dwarf leader. You know, I do my attacks. You know, then the turn goes about, and then he does his attacks, and then pushes me off the boat.
They really like doing that.
So I was like, "What the hell?" Me and Bonzo just cracking the hell up at that. Because I tried. I was gonna say, do I push him? Do I try to push him? No, it wasn't gonna work. So I was like, and then he comes around and pushes me instead.
Yeah, I don't like pushing people over because I might lose loot.
Right.
But at the same time, like, if you don't, you get pushed over and then you lose your life.
Right?
So I made a monk, right? I made a dragonborn monk, kind of like Dark Carbon only monk style, just because I have 3 characters on there right now. But and then yeah, he's a monk and he's using a bow and arrow because he can't quite get to things when the battle starts. So he's a ranger monk. It's really weird, even though he's not just a monk class, but he uses a bow. Then one of my other characters, I got this quest for free to Zeal. You know, she gets hung up in the man trap, and I convinced them to let her go. You know, we'll kill her and all that stuff. And so yeah, I killed her, and my quest still says I got to recruit her.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm still here.
What?
Somebody started talking about Boulder J3, so I got sidetracked. Everyone else here?
Yeah, I guess so.
I am.
I'm always here.
I think the only one we haven't heard from is Durkar. Other than his BG3 questions. I've given you guys a few clues so far. Do you guys feel like you're anywhere near, anywhere close to solving this mystery?
Not yet.
Still some stuff that I want to check up on.
I would still like to know what the imprint in the mud is.
What, next to the shoe prints? Footprints, whatever?
Yes.
Well, that's what you guys are trying to figure out right now. As soon as everyone returns.
Me personally, I think it's the doll maker.
I thought that until I did the insight check and felt that it wasn't, but
What insight check, Sky?
last week when we were talking with the doll maker.
Oh. Guess I don't remember those.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but we were talking with him, and because honestly, I was thinking that he was taking the essence of children and making them into dolls. And I asked if I believed him, and I got like a high roll, and mechanically speaking, I got a high roll, and you said I totally believed him. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then never mind. It's not the doll maker.
Not to poke holes in the theory, but I'm pretty sure you asked if he was planning to hurt Durkar or take any essence from Durkar.
Yeah, something along that line was where I was leading to, essentially, like, it's totally you. And then it wasn't, and I was like, okay, never mind.
Okay.
And before that, it was totally Wembley, and until he really doesn't like kids, and I believe that he doesn't like kids. So again, he might have something to do with it, or his people might have something to do with it, but Valakut is pretty sure that he has nothing specifically to do with it.
Okay, well, let us continue. It doesn't take long for Aramel to bring the rest of the party back. You come back and you find Durkar kind of stomping around looking for anything in the grass and further up the trail and further up the beach or the shore, and looking around trying to find anything. And it's not hard to find the footprints with the other print next to him. What do you guys want to do?
Yeah. I'll go over to the imprint next to the footprints and say to everybody, what do you think that is?
Can I tell what it is?
Give me an investigation check.
I'll help.
Give me just a second here. Okay. Um. Valcat, I'm afraid you don't understand what it or don't know what it looks like. Can't figure out what it looks like. Um. Luckily, Reardon decided to take a look at it with you, and as you're looking it over, Reardon, you realize that it looks like um back way back in your childhood. Um, you remember um maybe it was a family member or a mentor, maybe just somebody from where you lived. You're not quite sure who it was, but somebody you knew would um, play an instrument um, by the seashore. And when they took their instrument away, the mark it left in the wet sand looked very similar to the mark left here. Um, by that conclusion, you can surmise it's a large, or at least large for the player, stringed instrument. Um, Whether it's something like a harp or a um, maybe a small cello. Um, some instrument that has to be stood on the ground. But then if it's, could be just about any stringed instrument if under the right conditions. But that's for you guys to figure out.
I'll let everybody know what I think it is. And then they ask if anybody saw a similar marking by those footprints of the other kid's house.
Not that I can recall.
They did not. Okay. Anything else?
I'm just wondering if it's kind of like out of character. Pied Piper played his music and the kids followed him. Back in character.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the both the humming and the person standing outside the window at Harry's, and I was thinking of freaking, what is it? It was something similar. The rogue in the first, like, I don't know, 10 verse novels had some kind of flute or clarinet or something that did the same thing, but for like rats in the sewers of Calimport.
So he literally was a Pied Piper, and that was Artemis something, wasn't it?
Yes, Artemis. Yes, that was who it was.
Anyway, so now that you guys have discovered this information, what are your plans?
I think we still need to talk to Becky's mother and father, or mother and whatever.
Mothers.
Okay.
I didn't intentionally do that, but it's the way it worked out.
Very, very progressive for a male hating women campaign.
No, only Respawn worshippers are like that. The rest of the worshippers aren't. Anyway,
That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
what?
The male hating everything.
Well,
Maybe I'm just not
worshippers
with it.
of Respawn they don't have any respect for women. They are basically just there to make kids. And they don't have their own. They're basically slaves. They make kids, and yeah, they're there to be seen and not heard, basically.
But the introduction to the campaign was,
Okay.
if you're a female, you're probably going to be treated badly. If you're anything but a human or a dwarf, you're probably going to be treated badly. ... So, Two Mothers is very progressive in comparison to women or slaves.
Well, I think if you're female, there are places or situations where you could be treated badly, yes. But I didn't intend that to be a blanket statement for the entire world. And I apologize if it was taken that way. Okay, so you're going to Becky's to see the moms. Or would you feel better if it was mom and aunt?
It could be whatever it wanted to be. It's your story.
The only reason I was saying moms is because before I had decided that one of them was a mom talking about a missing child, I had said that there were 3 halflings sitting at the table. 3 halfling women sitting at the table. One of them was a guard. And then he went up and talked to them, and yeah, it just turned into, okay, well, I guess they're now the kids' moms. Because, there's 3 halfling women sitting here.
Yeah, perfectly fine for me. I don't care one way or another.
Okay, well. So you're gonna go see Becky's parents now. It doesn't take long to get there. Of the 4 children's houses that you visited, this is probably the most well-off of the group. It's a well-adorned 2-story building. Everything, it's not built humanoid size, but it's larger than halfling size. So it's like kind of partway in between. So it's ostentatious for halflings, but still too small for humans, if that helps. Let's see. The whole property, which is significantly larger than the properties of the other 3 houses, probably larger than the other 3 houses put together, is well manicured. It's got a well cared for rose bush that leads all the way around to the edge of the property. There are several trees in the front yard that seem to be flowering and dropping these white petals all over the walkway and the walkway and the lawn. But they seem to be cut in such a way that there's kind of an archway or kind of a tunnel for you to walk through to get to the front door. Yeah, it's the yard is beautifully taken care of. You can even see a couple of what are they called? Landscapers? Gardeners? What do you want to call them? Working on the lawn and the landscape as you walk up to the door.
I will knock on the door.
So probably a little more fluent than the others.
Probably a little, yeah. Okay, just moments after you knock on the door, Valakad, it's swung open, and a burly dwarf dressed in a well-fitted suede tunic with with suede slacks and a very expensive looking pair of suede shoes. Answers the door, and he looks each of you over. You know, despite the fact that you're taller than him, he still manages to look down his nose at you. Looking each of you over, and he simply says, "Yes."
Did I get the name of the moms when I talked to them? They don't have it down.
You did not.
Okay. I will say I talked with Becky's mother's yesterday, and we have gotten permission to investigate the missing children, and we just wanted to touch base with her mothers and see if we can find out anything about what's going on. Just see if we can kind of talk with them. If there's anything that is missing from the reports that the militia put together.
Give me a persuasion check. He just kind of gives you a grimace and says, "One moment, please," and slowly closes the door on you.
I'll start doing my usual walking around the property. I'll probably branch out a little bit further than the common grounds as well, considering how upkept this is all looking. But I will start out next to the house and then work my way outward.
Okay. Durkar, before you get much more than about 20 feet from the rest of the party, you find that you suddenly have two armed and armored halflings trailing you, one on each side of you, and they are very carefully watching everything you do.
Well, I'll note that and continue with what my intentions were.
So far, they haven't stopped you, they haven't even said anything to you, but they are following you.
Yep.
Valakad, maybe 4 minutes pass. Durkar has gone off and is being followed by his own cadre of halflings. And you guys are maybe getting a little impatient, wondering what the hell's going on, before the door opens again. And this time, the dwarf opens the door wide, steps off to the side, and says, Valkyries, Please enter. I will show you to the study, and the ladies of the house will be down shortly.
Thank you, good sir.
And as you enter, he will close the door behind you and lead you off into a study, probably one of the first rooms on the left, and it's large walnut doors with walnut paneling on the inside. The room looks very dark until he lights a globe in the middle, and the room lights up. The walls are covered in bookcases, which are in turn filled with books. Okay. The bookcases are filled with books, titles in just about every language you can imagine. There's heavy, very heavily upholstered furniture in here, which you are invited to sit down on. The dwarf, after inviting you to sit down, says he will bring some refreshments in just a few moments, and the ladies of the house will be with you momentarily. And he leaves and closes the doors behind him. You guys have a couple minutes if you want to look around, or if you just want to stay put, or what.
I'm gonna stay put.
Okay.
This place to sit and kind of sit stoically.
Okay, anyone else?
I'm going to stay where I am.
Okay.
Well, I think it would be best just to sit down and stay put.
Okie doke. After only takes about 3 minutes before the dwarf returns. He's carrying a tray with tea and a number of a pretty wide selection of little cookies and I don't know, biscotti and that kind of whatever kind of little finger snacks go with tea. I'm not a tea drinker, so you guys can use your imagination there.
I love tea. I don't eat snacks with it.
Okay, so there's all sorts of little cookies and maybe some
Don't forget the crumpets.
Sure, some crumpets, whatever the hell those are. Little cookies and little biscuits and little.
They are the crumpets are those little cookies.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Which, if we're going English, are technically biscuits.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a wide selection of little things you can snack on while you're drinking your tea. And he pours each of you a cup and hands them to you, whether you agree to it or not. Um, and as he is finishing, um, without hesitation, he pours another 2 cups. And just as he finishes pouring them, the door opens and in walks um, Becky's mom's. They walk over to a seat across from you guys and sit down. And the dwarf immediately hands them their tea and a small plate of crumpets, cookies, whatever, scones. I don't know, tea snacks. Um, at which point they look at Valakad and they both nod and say, "Are you here with good news? Have you found Becky? Have you found any of them?"
We have not found any of them yet. We took a look at the reports last night. We talked with Falero and Cora, and they approved us of working on the investigation on our own and with the militia. We have visited with Ryan's parents, Lisa's mom, and Harry's grandparents earlier today. Just wanted to reach back out to you guys and just if you can go over. I know that Becky never came home from playing. Was there any arguments or anything like the day before or the morning before? Anything like that?
She had argued with us about wanting to get a new toy, but it was much too expensive and didn't think it was a necessary addition to her current toys. Other than that, I am not aware of any other arguments, and she just kind of looks at the other woman and says, "Jeannie, can you think of any?" And the other one, who hasn't actually spoken at this point, she's kind of sipping at her tea and sitting there distraught. Just shakes her head. Um, and yeah, I can't think of any arguments that anything other than that we've argued about, but you can't possibly think that's why she left. Is because she wanted a toy.
I do not. There seems to have been a few arguments among the children, and we're still trying to deduce exactly what happened. I'm gonna look over at Airmail and say, have you heard any musical tunes? Whistling, humming, Airmail, do you remember how that tune went?
Airmail, give me a history.
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Give me a history check.
And you just heard the tune like an hour ago or something, so.
Yeah, give me history checks. Let's see if you can remember it. Okay. Um, you think you can remember it, and you kind of start humming, humming a few notes here and there, kind of starting over again several times. And before you're done, you catch Jeannie kind of trying to help. One of the moms, Jeannie, the distraught one. She's kind of trying to help. She adds in a couple of hums here and in there, and before long, the two of you are both humming a a tune, and as you guys hum this tune, you notice that everyone else in the room is just kind of zoning out, kind of going into their own little world. And you stop, and they all kind of snap out of it, and they look around, and yeah, that's how it goes. And the talker of the two women will speak up and say, well, she's been humming this for a couple weeks, but she, and then Jeannie speaks up and says, I don't know where I heard it. It's been stuck in my mind for a couple weeks now. And every time I think of Becky, I start humming it.
I will say we followed the trail down to the river by where Lisa may have disappeared at. And our golden friend that you guys saw at the inn, he found an imprint of some kind of, and now I'll look over at Reardon and say instrument. So I am curious if it's not something that charms or spells people and allows them to be coerced to essentially follow whoever the person is that is making the music. My apologies. We never really got an introduction the other night. But this here is Aramel. This here is Reardon. I am Valakad. And our lucky golden lizard that is currently outside, his name is Durkar. Might I get your name as well? I understand this is Jeannie.
Yes, the sobbing mom is Jeannie, and the other one the one that's been doing the most talking will speak up and say, my name is Maya. Okay, so what is it you're looking for, then?
I think at this point we've deduced that it is some type of instrument that they are getting lulled by, or maybe it's somebody that's humming it. We're gonna take this information back to Falero and uh, see if he knows the tune, see if we can figure out what's going on, and maybe investigate outside the town and see what we can find.
Okay, is there anything we can do to help you?
You might ask around to see if anybody knows somebody who plays an instrument.
What kind of instrument did he say it
It's
was?
probably a string instrument.
Maya kind of gives you a... kind of looks at you like you're crazy for a moment, and then says, "It's a small town. Most of us play instruments." Um...
Based on what we saw, it's probably either a harp or a cello or some larger string instrument like that.
Oh, I believe Leighton, the blacksmith, um, let's see, Leighton, the blacksmith, um, Angie, um, the tavern keep over at the Liar's Lair, and what's his name? What's his name? Sorry, I'm trying to think of a name real quick and it's not working. Let's go on Furton. That works. I believe those three, Leighton, Engaby, and Furton, all play large instruments like that, but I know they're not the only ones. Leighton is the town's blacksmith. He's an older halfling gentleman. Engaby, I'm sure you guys have dealt with her. She's over at the tavern. She runs the Liar's Lair. You guys can't possibly be staying there if you haven't met her. And Furton, he's an unusual fellow. He runs a shop here in town. He makes dolls for memorials, memorial dolls. But I know they're not the only ones who play heavier instruments. So I'm not sure if that's going to help you any.
Well, it's definitely, at the very least, a place to start. There hasn't been, and obviously this started about 2 weeks ago with Becky. There hasn't been in your history, in your growing up, anything like this before here?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. Guess we can look at the others and take off and see what we can deduce with Flora.
Do you want to look at Becky's room?
Would you mind if we looked at Becky's room? I realized that she had left to go play, but there might be something that we can tell from her room.
If you think it'll help. And out of nowhere, she produces a small bell and just gives it a very quick, sharp ring. And is the second she does it, I mean, probably not even half a second later, the door opens to the study, or doors to the study open, and the dwarf is standing there and bows and says, yes, mistress. And Maya speaks up and says, would you please take these detectives up to Becky's room? They would like to look around, see if they can find anything. And the dwarf bows again and immediately turns and starts to walk out. So if you guys are going to...
Yep, I'll follow.
Okay. You kind of have to rush.
Me as well.
Okay, you kind of have to rush for a second to catch up, but once you do, he leads you down a leads you to a kind of a cross hall where you can go one of three ways into the house, or rather down one of three hallways. He takes you down the center hall and all the way to the end. At the very end of the hallway is a large ornate double door. And he stops and turns to open a second, not quite so ornate double door to the side. And as you enter the room, it is perfect little girl's room. Everything in here is either pink, white, pink, yellow, or purple, with some light red, or I'm sorry, some light blues thrown in for fun. Pastels, basically. There are stuffed animals everywhere. There are little toy dolls everywhere. There are basically perfect little girl's room. Perfect however old she is. 11-year-old girl's room. A large canopy bed. Large human-sized canopy bed for a 11-year-old halfling girl. The room itself is probably larger than Lisa's entire house. It's probably 15 by 20. That's not including the very large walk-in closet that you can see off to the side. Yeah. What else can I tell you guys about this room?
I particularly just want to look at the. I'm guessing she has a full closet or armoire of clothes, and just see if anything looks out of place, like she had grabbed a bunch of clothes to take off. But I am kind of half looking because honestly, at this point, with the others, I'm not expecting to see it since she left to go play and was expected to come back, and especially after Lisa's stuff as well.
Okay. Okay. You look around. Give me a quick investigation check. It doesn't appear as though anything is missing. Um, but honestly, just looking through her closet or whatever, you're not really sure if you'd know if anything was missing anyway, because it is completely full of clothes.
And I'll look over at Rudin and Aramel and say, do you want to check out anything?
No, I don't think we can see anything here that's going to help us.
Wow, I've had 2 rogues go into 4 different houses in the last two sessions, and no one has tried to steal anything. I'm impressed. Especially this house.
We're honest folk.
Yeah, but if we had Myrnar here, little Mr. Life Cleric,
Right.
I'm sure he would have tried to lift some.
Life cleric, a roguish monk at heart. Sorry, that was out of place. I shouldn't have brought that up. Let's see.
I feel insulted.
Yeah. You go ahead and feel any way you want to feel. You are entitled to your feelings, Father. Anyway. Yeah, there's not really much you can see in here. The closet is very full of stuff. There are probably 6 different backpacks that you can see. Just at a glance. So if she took one, you know, it's possible there were 7. It's possible there were 10, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will go back to the door and thank the dwarf, and so we'll go see the ladies of the house, and then we will be off. And get down to the study, and
I really doubt that he would. I doubt that he would just let us go. He would want to lead us or go with us.
Yeah, that's why
He doesn't strike me as the type who's more than a little trusting.
Yeah, that's why I told him we will go see the ladies of the house and then be off.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as you guys exit the room, he steps in, takes a quick look around, pulls out a handkerchief and wipes a bit of dust off the corner of one of the I don't know, bookshelf or something, and then closes the door, and he will bow towards the group and be like, and then he'll say, "Then we shall return to the study," and he will fold up and tuck his kerchief back in his pockets and head back to the study, walking very quickly, forcing you guys to work to keep up with him.
Yeah, long legs.
That's true. That's true. But we got somebody keeps ringing the doorbell on the show. My sister's watching. Every time she does, or they do, my dog goes nuts. Every time she hears the doorbell, she just goes nuts. Doesn't matter where it is. But, he returns you to the study where he opens the door and sees you all in. And as you all enter, he... God. He exits the room again, closes the door, leaving you standing in the study with Jeannie and Maya. And Maya kind of looks at you and says, "That was quick. Did you find something?"
We didn't. I really didn't think we would, but just wanted to check just in case, because we have checked the other children's rooms. Just in case she took anything with her, but honestly, at this point, just based on the tune and the instrument and all that stuff, I think we're really leaning towards the kids being coerced to follow the music, as opposed to planning on running away with somebody. I know that doesn't bode well and does not sound good, but I feel like it is better than the alternative that they just ran. So now we have a better understanding and can look for the person that is doing this.
Very well. Then I hope you will make some progress quickly. Bring our daughter home.
Yes, ma'am.
And she picks up the bell. Another quick, sharp ring, and the door immediately opens, and the door steps in and bows. And Maya speaks up and says, "Our friends will be leaving." And dwarf nods and leads you off to out the front door. Durkar, you are outside. Give me a perception check.
That's my favorite.
Okay, so straight 11, right?
The 10. It's always a -1.
I thought you said
Perception is wisdom.
What?
Perception is wisdom. Investigation is intelligence.
Okay, did you want me to do perception or investigation? Sorry.
Perception. So
Okay, then it's 11.
Okay. And what exactly are you looking for out here?
Just the usual extra tracks. next to the window, maybe something that's out of place. But since I know that they're doing the garden and yards, I'll probably go to the edge of it and see if there's anything beyond the actual property boundary line that
Okay.
leads me further or not.
Okay. The entirety of the property is surrounded by a 4 foot tall rose bush. It's very thick, very pointy. Um, so you can follow that around. The only way in or out is through a gate in the back that leads out into the woods, or the gate that leads through the front leading out into the streets of the town.
Does the gate look locked at the moment? Like a padlock or locking mechanism?
The one in the back?
Yeah.
There is a lock on it. Looks like a pretty good one. And the gate itself it's a pretty sturdy gate. It wouldn't be easy to break it down.
I'll look at my entourages and ask them in common whether they understand or not. I don't know, but I'm still going to ask. They ask them, can you unlock the gate so I can go through? I need to check the other side.
They kind of look at each other and look back at you. One of them kind of shrugs, and the other one just kind of, like why do I bother asking you? Kind of a reaction. And
A what reaction?
why do I bother asking you? Reaction. He just kind of shakes his head and just kind of waves his hand at the one who shrugged. Maybe I'm the only one that knows what that reaction looks like.
I think so, because I'm drawing a blank.
Anyway,
Does it look like they understand my speech? Or are
yeah,
they...
yeah. As the one who's the one who's shaking his head steps forward and pulls a key ring from his from under his tunic and starts trying different keys on the lock, and on his fourth try he gets the gate unlocked. And when he pulls it open, it lets out a loud screech. Obviously they don't use this gate very often.
Well, that's a good indicator. Well, I'll walk
what?
through. Well, that's a good... thinking to myself, like, well, that's a good indicator that no one's probably gone through here because somebody would have heard that noise. So I'll walk through the gate, look back at him, and just kind of tip my head, and I'll just continue to do my investigation of the edge of the forest there. See what I find.
Okay. He just kind of... You look around out there and then just tip your hat at him, is that what you said?
I'm not wearing a hat, but he was like, just give him a curt nod. and then walk off down that side of the fence.
Okay. He'll just kind of shake his head, pull the gate shut with another loud screech, and lock it. And then rushes to catch up with you and his partner.
Oh, they followed me through?
Yeah, they follow you anywhere you're going, as long as you're anywhere near the property. So you're looking outside the property now?
Yeah, I'm outside the property.
Oh, okay, I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, I'd walked through the gate, nodded, and I kept on walking. I mean, I'm taller than the bloody hedge, so they can keep an eye on me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what Battlecat said in Roll20 chat kind of pretty much what just happened.
Hey, we should keep an eye on this guy. Wait, why is he using
Right?
the... You could have gone around the property. Why did you walk through our property to exit out?
They
Then
do
he's
not
talking-
know the ways of a lizard.
And then he's talking in this strange language at us, trying to... No, when you exit the property and they close and lock the gate, they'll stay on the property and let you go about your business.
Alright, and what do I find on this side?
Give me another perception check. You find all the stuffs.
Yes! Jackpot!
Unfortunately, there's nothing to find.
You find bird poop.
Yeah, there's probably actually a good bit of that out there. You make your way around outside the rose bush. Even from the outside, it's very well maintained. In the places where there is where the ground is soft enough to actually make prints, you do see a lot of prints, but there's no way you can determine whether it's important or, just a workman.
Fair enough.
Other than that, aren't any other revealing details, unfortunately.
Alright, I'll just continue to follow back around to the front.
Okay. One of the times you check in with your dragon, you do see the rest of the party waiting out front for you. Just talking amongst themselves. That being said, the rest of you are waiting out front of this house, this estate. Those of you who care have probably looked up and noticed the pseudo-dragon on the roof. Is there anything else you want to talk about while you're waiting for Durkar to show up, or?
We'll look over at the others, and so I guess we should go talk to Falero and let him know our findings, and maybe speak with the blacksmith and, I dare say, the doll maker. Are either of you getting a gut feeling of anything else?
Seems to me like large amount of our clues lead back to this doll maker. So I think he definitely requires another look, and maybe ask to see his instrument.
Should we go talk to Falero first, or should we go straight to the doll maker?
Durkar, it doesn't take you long to catch up to the group. You walk in the middle of this conversation.
Well, nothing around this house to keep it all very tidy. Anything inside? What'd you find out?
Just more tidy.
Yeah, very nice house. Yeah.
All right. And then on my view on the going to Valero or the doll maker is, if we went to Valero with our suspicions and our findings now, would he overreact and go crazy with the doll maker, or should we do an additional investigation first?
Based on how he was with Wembley, he seemed very scatterbrained and in over his head. Thinking maybe he would have some insight on the doll maker and on the blacksmith. Another question that I didn't ask was what happened to, I didn't want to bring it up, with Harry's grandparents, was what happened with Harry's parents. It could be that if they died, it's one thing, but if they were shunned or sent out, it could be that they are responsible, since that is where Aramel said, or Aramel heard that humming tune.
Okay, it's an interesting possibility that are you thinking of going to talk to the three instrument players before you see Falaro?
That's the
Or
that's the point of this conversation, is to
go
should we go talk to Falero and kind of get an insight on the others, or should we go to talk the others before we bring this to Falero?
Okay, yeah, I understand. I'm just wondering. When we talked with Falero before, he seemed positively overwhelmed with his duties. I wonder if he'd even have the presence of mind to be able to tell us about these people. But you don't know until you ask.
What part of the town are we in? Are we in like the central of the town, off to the side? What's where this house is currently located, as far as layout?
Um, this is essentially the rich part of town, because you're standing right outside Becky's parents' house, Becky's mom's house, which is kind of the northwest part of the town. The poorest part of town is the southeast, and basically, as you go northwest through town, you get to more affluent neighborhoods. In the center of the town is the town square, where you guys have seen the different shops and the Strong Force Manor. You guys have seen both the inns there in the town center, in town square. I see. You've seen the Dollmaker, the Smith, Strong Force Manor, both of the inns. And then just a little south of town square is the barracks.
And how big is the town? Is it like a not quite city, but not quite
No, it's definitely not a city.
quarter?
It's kind of closer to a town than a village. There's probably 8 to 900 people living in this town.
Okay. And so as we leave the rich house and go back towards town, since I do have that scrap of cloth that's from that one kid, I can't remember what his name is, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't find the rest of it.
And how are you going to do that?
Well, if I have I'm thinking this works this way. I'm not sure, but I have a scrap of that cloth that was torn from the kid's clothing. I would think. So I'm trying to locate the remainder of it, what it goes to, if that's at all possible. Since I'm familiar with this, what does it go to? I don't know. We talked about it last week, but I never got a definitive answer if I could use that or not.
I guess I was wondering, are you planning on going to a shop and try to compare
No,
that cloth to something in the shop, or
Are you looking at the chat at all?
yeah, the chat in
Right.
Roll20's got the spell that he's talking about.
okay? All right, that sounds like it's worth a try.
Um, well, shit. How large is or how long is the football field?
100 yards.
Which would be 333 feet.
Okay, first of all, that spell would work like that. Um, However, as you start to cast it, or as you cast it and you're concentrating on the spell, um, you can feel the tickle of the spell. It kind of normally you can feel that there's a direct pull in the direction that the object lies, and it's normally a very direct, very obvious pull in that direction. But when you cast it this time, there's just like a little tickle. It's just like it's almost like a fly that's buzzing right next to your ear.
Okay, and then while we're walking through town, since it lasts for 10 minutes, I'll keep track and see if that tickle or buzz gets stronger or lesser as we walk.
Um, okay, you don't actually feel the tickle until about halfway through the time frame of the spell. I apologize. Um, it's as you get closer to the main square, you start getting that tickle. But it doesn't seem to have a direction to it. It's just kind of... It's like something's blocking the spell.
And once I start feeling it, does it feel stronger? Like I was saying, as we continue to move,
Mm,
you know, and then if I go past it, would it like dull so that I could turn around? I get a general location or area.
as you get closer to town square, it does get more annoying. But you're not sure if that's because it's more annoying, because it's just annoying as hell, or if it's because it's getting stronger.
Yeah, basically, I'm playing hot potato with it.
I understand, and basically, I'm telling you it's not working that way. You can tell that the magic is detecting that object, but there's something blocking the magic.
Right now, it's strongest towards the center of town.
Yes.
And what's in the center of town or around it?
Basically all the shops, the militia or barracks is just south of the center of town. The Strong Force Manor is just north of the center of town. All your shops, all your taverns. Center town is basically the marketplace of the town. So, yeah.
All right, I'll walk towards the doll maker's building, and then on the like the last couple of minutes of this, and see if it becomes even worse or if it dulls.
Doesn't seem to be any difference.
As no difference. Okay. Well, it's around here somewhere, still in town somewhere. Anybody got any other ideas? Where do we go next?
I think maybe we're left with a cliffhanger.
I guess it is that time, guys. So you want to leave it here with you guys wanting to... I believe your next step was to talk to Valero? Or were you going to go talk to the instrument owners?
Great question. That's what I asked apparently about 10 minutes ago. We made it to the center of town.
And everybody will find out next
we
week.
got a
Tune
week
in
to
again.
think about it.
Okay, well.
Well, it's a good game tonight, and we'll join again next week to see if we can figure out the conclusion of this riddle. Good night, all.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Okay. Have a good one, everyone.
Good game.
Hope you're enjoying it.